Okay, let's dive in. Have you ever been in that situation, where you've got this brilliant idea, you announce it really loudly, maybe full of excitement,
Oh, yeah.
and then you just watch it sort of slowly crumble, maybe under the weight of expectations?
Happens all the time. It's a classic scenario,
It
unfortunately.
really is. So today, we're digging into this fascinating paradox. Sometimes the absolute best way to win big is actually to stay quiet about it, at least initially.
Okay.
Welcome to Quiet Spike's Loud Wins. Our mission here is to explore how strategic stealth, and this is a principle, really, rooted in some ancient wisdom, how it can lead to these monumental victories in, like, modern technical leadership.
Yeah, and without being dishonest, that's key.
Exactly. We'll unpack how showing results can seriously trump just telling plans and maybe counterintuitively when a little strategic deception, and we mean that in the smartest sense, right?
Wow.
Information management can be your most powerful tool.
What's really fascinating here, I think, is how these timeless principles of strategy, like the ones from Sun Tzu, they actually apply directly to the modern world of software teams.
Yeah.
It's quite striking.
Shinsu, right.
Yeah. And again, we're not talking about outright lying or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's much more about mastering the art of information management and, crucially, timing.
Okay.
So when Sun Tzu famously said all warfare is based on deception, he wasn't saying lie constantly. He was advising leaders not to telegraph their moves to the enemy, right? Don't give away your strategy.
Makes sense.
In our world, in tech leadership, that often means not telegraphing every single plan or ambition before you're truly ready. Sometimes to achieve a really significant win, you kind of need to operate in, let's call it, stealth mode.
Right. So if Sun Tzu's wisdom is about strategic concealment,
Mm.
what exactly are we hiding from or maybe protecting ourselves against in today's tech world? What's the modern enemy here?
Good question.
Like, what's the equivalent of telegraphing your moves that gets us into trouble so often?
Well, that leads perfectly into probably one of the biggest challenges we see, over-promising, or what we sometimes call the big announcement trap.
The big announcement trap. I like that.
Yeah, picture this. A new tech lead, maybe they're super enthusiastic, full of great ideas, stands up in an all-hands meeting and announces, right, we're going to completely rebuild our platform by Q4. It's going to solve all our tech debt.
Uh-huh. Heard that one before.
Exactly. And there's that initial burst of hype, right? People are clapping, yes, finally. But then fast forward a few months.
Yeah. Reality hits.
Reality hits. The rebuild is way behind schedule. The complexity was wildly underestimated. And then the project just quietly gets descoped, maybe pushed out indefinitely.
Sound familiar? I think, yeah, many of us listening have probably seen really well-intentioned leaders fall right into this trap.
Absolutely.
And the fallout, it's usually embarrassment for the leader, isn't it? Lost credibility, sometimes significantly. And the team, they just feel completely deflated. The hype was so loud, but the actual win was, well, non-existent.
And if we connect this to the sort of bigger picture, the enemy isn't just those failed promises themselves. It's also the unmanaged expectations that get created.
Right.
And maybe even more insidiously, it's the bureaucratic inertia that can just kill a great idea before it even gets off the ground.
Bureaucratic inertia. Yeah.
In a lot of organizations, if you propose a really bold change openly, right at the start, you often just get flooded with reasons why it won't work.
Oh, yeah. No time, too risky, not in the budget.
Precisely. Or the classic come back when you have proof. But here's the dilemma, the catch-22.
Yeah.
How do you get that proof when you're met with all that resistance right at the very beginning? You need to try it to prove it.
Exactly. It's a total catch-22, so what's the way out?
And that is exactly where this idea of strategic stealth, or what we're calling the quiet spike, comes in as a really powerful potential solution.
Okay, Ted, the quiet spike. Tell me more.
So a quiet spike is essentially a quick, low-key experiment, maybe a prototype. You're not hiding it maliciously. That's not the point. You're simply not broadcasting it to everyone and their dog until you have something real, something tangible to actually show for it. And this creates a really powerful shift in the conversation. I remember reading one experience developer put it really nicely. He said something like, do a stealth prototype. Get just a few key people excited privately and show off real numbers. Use that momentum to change the question.
Change the question. How so?
Change it from, can I please, pretty please do this thing, to, okay, look what we found. Why aren't you on board with this yet?
Ah, I see. That's powerful. It flips the script.
Completely. It's the ultimate show, don't tell ethos for engineering leadership, isn't it? Telling everyone your grand plan is like promising a victory you haven't fought for yet.
Right, setting yourself up.
Exactly. But showing a working prototype, that's like you've already won a small, crucial battle that proves the larger war can be won. And maybe just as importantly, a small, quiet prototype is far less risky.
How so?
Well, if your quiet spike doesn't pan out,
Hmm.
if the idea doesn't work, you can just scrap it quietly. Minimal fanfare, no big public failure announcement needed.
Yeah, no egg on your face.
Exactly. It's a genuinely low-risk, potentially high-upside way to sidestep all that premature criticism and skepticism you often face.
Okay, this sounds incredibly compelling in theory. I'm sold on the concept. But, where do we see this quiet spike strategy really shine in the real world? Do you have an example, maybe a story, that illustrates its power?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's ground this. I've got a great story kind of synthesized from a few real-world situations I've seen or heard about that perfectly captures this quiet spikes, loud wins idea.
Perfect.
Okay, so imagine a company, let's call them TechCore, maybe 200 people total, decent size. They've got a software engineering team of about, say, 15 developers working on their main e-commerce platform.
Got it.
Now, one of their core back-end modules, let's call it the order processor, is, frankly, crumbling.
Yeah.
Legacy piece, probably evolved over years, handles everything from validating orders to processing payments and updating inventory. You know the type.
Oh, yes. The giant ball of mud.
The classic ball of mud. It's slow, it crashes under high load during peak season, and it's causing those dreaded 2 a.m. pages, waking up the on-call team constantly. Painful.
Ugh, yeah, been there.
So now enter Alice. She's the engineering lead for the platform team. Alice knows exactly what needs to be done. She sees the path forward. A modern re-architecting, maybe splitting that monolith into microservices, introducing better validation, maybe a queuing system, standard stuff, really.
The textbook solution.
The textbook solution.
Yeah.
But when she brings it up in planning meetings, she just hits a wall.
Yeah.
Total resistance.
What's the pushback?
Well, the product manager is hesitant. Look, Alice, we promised too many new features this quarter. We just can't justify a big internal refactor right now. And her own engineering director warns her, Alice, rewriting that module, that could take months. It could jeopardize feature delivery. We'd need an absolutely rock-solid, bulletproof case.
The classic, we need a rock-solid case, which is code for probably never.
Pretty much. And we all know that phrase, if we have time for tech debt. It's often just a mirage, isn't it?
Totally.
The engineers feel the pain every single day, but the stakeholders, they rarely truly feel it until there's a massive outage that hits the news or revenue. It's just a frustrating, very familiar dynamic in many places.
So true. Okay, so Alice is stuck. What does she do? Does she just give up?
Well, no. And this is what stands out. Alice decides to try a different approach. She's not going to go rogue, right?
Right.
She's not going to put the team's main commitments at risk. But she feels really strongly that a better solution is needed, and maybe she can prove it, just in a limited way first.
Okay, so she's thinking about the quiet spike.
Exactly. She remembers this concept, maybe asked for forgiveness, not permission, but applied carefully, ethically. So she calls this unofficial huddle.
Yeah.
Just two people she trusts deeply. Robbie, a really sharp senior developer on her team, and Jenna, who's maybe the remote guru who actually wrote parts of the problematic order processor years ago and knows its dark secrets.
Ah, the inside knowledge. Smart.
Very smart. She explains her idea. Look, what if we just tried something small, like on the side, a tiny prototype of a new service that handles just one part of the order processor, maybe just the inventory updates, and let's see if it's faster, more stable. We do it in bits and pieces, a few hours here, a Friday afternoon there, nothing formal.
Keeping it low-key.
Totally low-key.
Yeah.
She says, if it fails, no harm done, no one even really has to know. But if it shows promise, then we have real data to make our case.
And they agree.
They're in. They all agree. Keep it quiet, keep it quick. Don't advertise it to the whole team. Definitely not to upper management yet. Not until there's something real. This is essentially an internal skunkworks project.
Skunkworks. Like the old Lockheed Martin thing.
Exactly. Small, autonomous team operating under the radar specifically to bypass the usual bureaucracy and roadblocks. IBM used similar concepts too. It's a proven strategy for innovation when the main channels are blocked.
Okay, so they've got their secret mission. How does it actually play out?
Right. So for the next few weeks, Alice, Ravi, and Jenna work on their little prototype. It's genuinely in bits and pieces. A couple of Friday afternoons when their main sprint work is looking light, maybe tinkering a bit after hours, almost like a slow burn hackathon project spread over a month.
Uh-huh.
They picked a really narrow, specific slice of functionality. Just the order processor's inventory update logic. That seemed like a good candidate, critical but separable.
Makes sense. And what did they build?
They build this new small service. They call it Inventory Tracker. They use a modern approach. make it stateless, easily scalable, put a message queue in front of it to buffer updates smoothly. Then they set up a tiny, isolated test environment, maybe just in the cloud using some free credits, to run the old order processor side by side with their new inventory tracker, feeding it the same test data so they can compare results directly.
And this is all happening quietly.
Totally quiet.
Mm-hmm.
In daily stand-ups, they're reporting on their normal assigned tasks, very careful not to neglect their main commitments. A couple of other engineers maybe notice Ravi and Alice are chatting intently, quite often, huddled over a screen.
Yeah. What happens?
Alice just smiles and waves it off. Just experimenting with something not really ready yet.
She's not lying, right?
Yeah.
It is just an experiment at this stage.
True. So does the experiment work?
It does. Soon, they hit a key milestone. Their prototype inventory tracker service is processing test data reliably, no crashes. Then comes the crucial test, a load test. They replay recorded traffic from a past busy holiday period.
Okay, the moment of truth. Exactly. The old order processor, as expected, starts to choke and throw errors when they ramp up the load. But the new inventory tracker, it just sails through, handles 5 times the load without breaking a sweat.
Wow. 5 times.
5 times the load. Plus, it was faster, obviously didn't break, and analysis showed it actually reduced the processing load on the rest of the order processor by about 30% because it took that inventory piece away.
Those are serious numbers. Tangible, undeniable.
Absolutely undeniable metrics, not just gut feelings or theories.
Okay, so they have the proof, but then the crucial question becomes, how do you reveal something that you built in stealth mode without causing friction,
Right.
without making people feel blindsided or like you went behind their backs?
Yeah, that's a really critical point. The reveal is almost as important as the spike itself. Alice opted for a very measured, strategic reveal.
How did she do it?
First step, she goes to her direct manager, the engineering director, Mike. Just a one-on-one setting. She frames it really tactfully. Something like, hey, Mike, Ravi, Jen and I did a small experiment over the last few weeks, kind of on the side. We kept it low-key because, honestly, we weren't sure if it'd pan out. But we've got some really interesting data I think you'll want to see.
Smart framing, experiment, low-key, not sure it would pan out.
Exactly. Takes the pressure off, makes it sound less like a secret plot and more like a proactive exploration. So Mike is, admittedly surprised, maybe a little taken aback initially.
I bet.
But then Alice shows him the demo, walks him through the numbers,
Oh.
the 5x load, the 30% reduction, and it's just hard to argue with a working demo and real metrics staring you in the face.
Right. The proof is right there.
The proof is right there, and the conversation immediately shifts. It goes from, should we ever consider doing something like this,
Yeah.
to, wow, okay, how soon can we actually get this into production? The result, the demonstrated result, completely changed the question.
That's the power right there. Okay, so Mike's on board. What next?
So over the next week or so, Alice and Mike together loop in the rest of the team first, get their input, make sure they understand it. Then they bring in the relevant stakeholders, crucially, the product manager who was initially hesitant, and even the CTO.
How does that go, especially with the product manager?
Again, they lead with the demo and those concrete numbers. The product manager, who had been skeptical about spending cycles on back-end work, suddenly sees the light. She hears that this isn't just abstract tech debt cleanup. This could cut order processing failures by, say, 90%, improve response times for actual customers checking inventory.
Translating it into business value.
Exactly. Suddenly, it's a clear win for reliability, customer satisfaction, maybe even revenue. She gets on board. The CTO is also pleased, sees this kind of initiative as positive, though he might jokingly say, okay, next time, maybe let me in on the secret a little earlier.
Fair enough. So the project gets approved.
Gets the green light. It's prioritized, productionized relatively quickly because the core is already built, and within about a month, the new inventory tracker is live and dramatically drops the number of those awful 2 a.m. pages. A real, measurable, loud win achieved through that initial quiet spike.
Fantastic story. And the aftermath. What was the impact beyond just fixing that one module?
Oh, the aftermath was incredible, really. Team morale just shot up. The engineers felt empowered. They'd identified a major pain point and proactively solved it. Stakeholders started to trust Alice's team more. After all, they delivered something high impact without even being explicitly asked or budgeted for it initially.
That's huge. Building trust.
Immense trust. And that success made it much easier for Alice to then negotiate tackling the next chunk of the legacy system, because now everyone saw the tangible value. It created this positive domino effect. By keeping it quiet initially, under-promising, and then over-delivering with a real result, the team earned massive credibility.
Wow. Okay, so for you, the listener, thinking about this, What are the actionable takeaways from Alice's blueprint? How can we translate this into like practical steps for applying quiet spikes, loud wins in our own work?
Yeah, let's distill that. A fundamental lesson here is definitely show, don't tell prototype before you pitch.
Right. The demo is king.
Absolutely. Instead of just asking for permission based on a slide deck full of hypotheticals, try to build a small prototype or a proof of concept first, however scrappy. Real data, working demos, they just trope theories every time.
Yeah, it changes that conversation from, no, that's too risky, to, oh, wow, how soon can we have this? It just cuts through all the what ifs.
Exactly, cuts through the noise. Then there's the classic, but really relevant here, under-promise, over-deliver. It's about smart expectation management.
Yeah, resist that urge, right? To loudly promise the moon on day one.
Totally. Keep those initial expectations low, or maybe even private within the Spike team, then deliver more than expected. That's how you build credibility steadily over time. It's a crucial balance, though. You don't want to hype your intention, but you do need to share progress with the right people in a controlled way when the time is right.
Makes sense. Manage the reveal.
Manage the reveal. And finally, pick your battles and scope wisely. You probably don't want to use a stealth spike for your company's flagship new feature launch, right?
Probably not.
Use them for the right kind of problems. The ideal targets are often those essential but frequently underappreciated projects. Things like tackling tech debt, maybe improving core infrastructure, automating painful manual processes.
Things that are hard to get prioritized normally.
Exactly. And critically, keep the scope small enough to handle quietly and quickly. Focus on delivering a tangible win on just one slice of the problem.
Okay, those are great starting points, but I'm thinking the challenge becomes, how do you make sure these stealth projects are actually constructive and not disruptive? How do you avoid stepping on toes or creating chaos? It feels like the how is really important.
Oh, absolutely crucial. The execution details matter immensely. First, and this is key based on Alice's story, involve a trusted few, don't go lone wolf.
Right, Alice had Ravi and Jenna.
Precisely. She didn't do it alone in a corner. Having a small, tight-knit A team ensures you get critical thinking, you get sanity checks on your ideas, and it means you have a few champions already on board when it's time to reveal the work. You really want to avoid that cowboy coder trap,
Yeah.
where you suddenly surprise your colleagues with a bunch of secret code they now have to understand and maintain. That breeds resentment, not collaboration.
Good point. What else?
Second, and this is ethically vital, mind the day job, no theft of time.
Yeah, that's huge.
Absolutely critical. Stealth work has to be ethical. You cannot neglect your primary responsibilities or secretly siphon time away from critical tasks that your team or stakeholders are depending on. That's just not okay.
So when can you do this kind of work?
Good times for a spike might be during natural slack periods in a sprint, maybe official hackathon days if your company has them, or using explicit innovation time if that's offered. If you're an individual contributor, maybe doing this slightly under your boss's radar, you have to be absolutely sure you're still crushing your main commitments.
Right.
As one engineer, I put it pretty bluntly, if you piss people off by taking resources or time away from their projects, you're going to have a bad time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, fair warning. Okay, so involve others, don't steal time. So what else?
Third, plan the reveal and shake credit. Don't keep it secret for too long. There's a window of opportunity, right? Reveal when you have enough evidence to make a compelling case, like Alice did.
And frame it tactfully.
Frame it tactfully, exactly. We ran an experiment. Here's what we found. Be transparent once you reveal about why it was kept quiet initially. We weren't sure it would work. And crucially, share the credit widely with your teammates who helped. Make sure everyone knows it was a small team effort, not just you being a hero in a vacuum.
That sharing credit part feels really important for team health.
Absolutely. It builds trust for the next time.
Okay, this raises an important point for me. While being strategic about what you reveal externally to stakeholders makes sense, what about within your own team? How do you maintain trust and openness with your direct reports or peers if you're encouraging or engaging in quiet work? It feels like a fine line between strategic silence and just fostering distrust.
That is a vital distinction, and you're right, it's a delicate balance. This is where the idea of quiet outside, transparent inside often comes in.
Quiet outside, transparent inside.
Okay, yeah. While you might be strategically quiet externally with certain stakeholders, maybe to manage expectations or avoid premature roadblocks, internally, with your core Spike team, you absolutely need transparency.
So confide in the chosen few.
Exactly. Confide in Ravi and Jenna, in Alice's case. Make it our quiet mission. Frame it positively. That can actually create a fun sense of camaraderie, like we're in this cool little project together, rather than fostering negative secrecy or making people feel excluded.
That
Like,
makes a lot of sense. So it's about who you're quiet towards and why.
precisely. And what I find particularly compelling, actually, is how you can apply this quiet spike thinking, even to improving team culture or processes.
Oh, how so?
Well, say you want to try a new agile ritual or maybe a different approach to code reviews. Instead of trying to enforce a big sweeping change across the entire department immediately,
Which often gets pushback.
which often gets pushback, pilot it quietly first. Try it with just one sub-team or maybe a couple of willing developers for a sprint or two. If it works well, now you have a real case study with data, not just an abstract idea you're trying to sell.
Ah, using the spike approach for process change. Clever.
Yeah. And similarly, think about the role of a leader. Sometimes a leader needs to shield their team from external noise or half-baked ideas coming from above. If upper management is suddenly pushing for some unvetted, potentially disruptive idea, a good tech lead often acts as a buffer.
Right, filtering the chaos.
Exactly. That's a form of strategic silence, isn't it? It's done in service of keeping the team focused and productive, filtering the external chaos into clarity. It's not about excluding the team, it's about protecting their focus.
Okay, that's a helpful perspective, but you'd add a caution here, right? This isn't a replacement for good communication.
Oh, absolutely not. That's a crucial word of caution. This quiet spike approach complements good, open communication. It doesn't and shouldn't replace it. Transparency is still incredibly important in leadership.
So it's not about creating a secretive culture.
Not at all. The goal isn't to foster mistrust. It's more about strategically developing ideas, incubating them, to the point where they're actually worth everyone's valuable time and attention. Think of it like a scientist doing lab work before they publish their results.
Yeah, okay.
We do a bit of lab work in code or with the process experiment, and then we publish it to our stakeholders or the wider team once we actually have something solid, something worth discussing.
I like that analogy, the lab work before publishing. Okay, so let's maybe reflect on these core principles then, these sort of commandments for strategic leadership that could really change how you achieve wins.
Yeah, let's recap.
1. Thou shalt prototype quietly and deliver boldly. So before you boast, build. Let tangible results, even small ones, do the heavy lifting in convincing people.
Absolutely. Show, don't just tell.
2. Thou shalt manage expectations shrewdly. That under-promise, over-deliver idea. Promise less, deliver more. Those surprise victories often build way more trust than grand claims or big upfront speeches.
Spun on. Credibility is earned incrementally.
And 3. Thou shalt earn trust through results, not hype. Show stakeholders, show your team members real progress like a running service. Improved metrics rather than just roadmaps filled with intentions. Results really do speak louder.
Louder than roadmaps, indeed.
This whole deep dive into quiet spikes, loud wins, it really highlights how effective it can be to just move with purpose and sometimes with a bit of discretion.
It really does. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, back to Sun Tzu for a moment, his emphasis on deception wasn't about being sneaky for its own sake. It was ultimately about achieving victory with minimal conflict, right? The ideal was winning without fighting.
Winning without fighting. Okay. In our context, in tech leadership, this translates to accomplishing a significant technical goal without getting bogged down in endless meetings, without fighting those exhausting uphill battles for approval, and maybe without those demoralizing confrontations where ideas get shot down before they're even explored.
So it's about winning smarter, not harder. Exactly. Winning by wit, by preparation, by demonstrating value rather than just arguing for it. Alice, in our story, she essentially avoided a big battle of convincing management through PowerPoints alone by quietly securing a small, undeniable win first.
Yeah, she changed the battlefield.
She did. So maybe here's a provocative thought for you, the listener, to take away. Where in your own work right now is there resistance? Maybe it's doubt, maybe it's inertia, maybe it's active pushback. Is there a way you could potentially break through that resistance without a big fight involving endless debates and presentations? Perhaps a quiet experiment, a little stealth prototype like Alice's, is the more elegant, more effective solution you need right now. What small spike could you maybe initiate next week, even just exploring an idea that might eventually lead to a loud, significant win for you and your team?
Something to really think about. What's that first small step?
Exactly. Well, that's it for today's deep dive. We really hope you found some practical, maybe inspiring nuggets here to help you lead with both strategy and heart.